I'm Steve. Mark's around. Say hi, Mark.
Hey, everybody.
And this is Stokely, Steve, and Mark, and my cheap-ass tripod. Welcome or welcome back. I don't want to fuck with it too much more now. There we go. We'll just do you this way. There we go. Mark likes to have the background just so you know me, I could probably give a shit. So, hope everyone's well and everyone's safe, looking out for yourselves and for each other. It's been an interesting... Fine, I'll stop fucking with it. There. Interesting weekend. Beautiful weather here. We had some crap on Saturday, but it was very, very, very nice otherwise. Tonight is going to be a brunch. This afternoon will be a brunch, because I couldn't decide what to call it for 3 o'clock. So, we are having oatmeal. Jealous. Got a little bit of fruit, banana, and get some peaches, and I have a Diet Pepsi, because that's how we go. So, happy. Hey, Foxy, how are you? Let's get on with the eating. I was looking, we had a live yesterday, so, but it was for Mark's birthday, so I wasn't sure if we'd be on again, or if I'd be on again today. But today I was like, you know what, I caught up with her. I'm already looking at everything she did. I might as well just do the live and chat up about it. Because I'm pretty well caught up with the nonsense, her nightmare of self-centered nonsense. If you catch my drift, I am so sorry. There we go. I promise I won't touch it again. So, we had weighed in on her self-centeredness. Now, last week when we met, I took a few notes and talked about some stuff, so I took a few more this time, though she took quite a bit off of this week filming and putting videos up, because she's gone, or was gone, and now we're up to, she was going to be gone, and now she's back. She did a live. She just can't stay away that long. She just can't help herself. The people, they love her, they begged, so she came back. So there's that. She was gone from videos, but did a couple lives, and didn't last longer than, was it even 24 hours, I think? Hey, Tuxedo. Hey, Maritime. So it's, we'll see. But overall, she had a pretty, as she described it, mundane week. The theme that I kept coming across as I was watching this was selfishness and self-centeredness together. I was thinking about this. I used to talk way back in the day about how I thought Chantal was an addict of some sort. She had said as much herself, so I don't feel like, you know, I'm taken out of line taking her self-label. One of the things that is not unique to addicts or alcoholics, but particularly done well by addicts and alcoholics, is selfishness and self-centeredness. In the literature that they have for like 12-step groups, they call that the real root of the problem. So as far as addiction goes. There's other people that would say that there's information now that the opposite of addiction is connectedness, that community is one of the things that will heal a person, and community is one of the things that can be wrapped around for support. She certainly has community. People are coming in and out of that damn house doing construction, cooking, bringing food, bringing their kids. She's going to be sitting on the bathroom toilet streaming because she won't have any privacy. And it sounds like they didn't put in a toilet that she'd be really comfortable using, so boop. Too bad for her, I guess. We got a few more shots of the house. The more and more she describes where she's living, the more and more it seems like it was really essentially rubble when they moved back. When she talks about her neighborhood, it sounds like they were like maybe the least damaged house in a construction zone. Bo from the Netherlands, it's 9:04. Hello, Bo. Hello. So I think that what they're doing is, as the community, as the family, rebuilding, like the whole country is apparently doing. So they're just doing their bit. And Chantal's acting, hanging out like it's somewhere between a vacation and jail to her. Like, I can't leave, so I might as well just do whatever I want, because they're going to hate me anyway. They hate her because she doesn't do anything, probably. Another feature this week, she was supposed to make a large meal for a big group of people. We're coming into the week going now. That didn't happen. She fell, she got hurt, the usual shit. And then, what else do we have here? Going beyond that, a few other points that I had wanted to touch on. She did a mukbang that was released just right now, pretty much. Very, very shortly ago. And it's her eating some takeout that doesn't look like much of anything. It looks like a mushy sandwich and some pickles, and there's nothing animalistic or primitive about eating with your hands. If it's part of your culture, it's part of your practice, it's how you grew up, it's what you know, that's fine. That's what it is. I grew up with forks and knives. Some people have chopsticks. But Chantal eating with any utensil is arguably gross, whether it's her hands, her fork, or a spoon. That's just how she rolls. She was having a phallic moment with an ice cream cone this week as well. Even though she didn't like the cardamom, she took it down to the stick. So, food is her thing, is the fix. So where did I begin? Back from break after trying to extort $5,000 out of her Beezers to pay for her vacation. I'm trying to find good lighting. Doesn't exist. Trying to pay for her vacation. She just came back from vacation, but she wants to go away to Japan, and they were going to spot the money for it. Well, surprise, surprise, nobody gave her a whole lot of money. No one's dropping that much money to send her to Tokyo. For what? She was suggesting that this was an idea that she could go by because she's a travel vlogger. And because she does travel vlogging, it makes most perfect sense for her to do. So she's a tourist when it's convenient, legally. But otherwise, she's just passing through. I have a hard time putting some of that stuff together. Her having come back like Pretty Princess from the hotel and still sitting around and bitching is probably going over really poorly with Sala's family and friends. Really poorly. It's one thing if you can't help, but I suspect she's sometimes in the way. Not because she's fat, but because she's not welcome. And so they're making her feel not welcome. So she'll leave. They might like her money, and she'll convince herself that it's really her. But if she can't talk to anyone, how can they get to know her? And how could they have watched her channel if they don't speak English, which Chantal disclosed this week that Sasa, the young girl with special needs who Chantal exploited for money, or attempted to, successfully sort of did, and lied about some other things that went with it. This young girl, she's supposed to go to a school. And then we see evidence that it's Chantal's house, which we know is rubble from her disclosures. So everybody's starting from the ground up in this little Syrian neighborhood. That seems to be the gist of what I get. Everyone's on their way up. Everyone's putting back together. Chantal's just kind of watching the show. She's kind of like a site director at a construction site. Well, you do this, and you do this, and you do that, and then this comes in, and ooh. And it sounds like I want to describe it in my head like a compound. I'm guessing it's like a one-story flat thing. And she's described it as certainly being under construction. There was a sheet blocking the doorway, or not sometimes, to get into the bathroom. There's only a couple comfortable places for her to sit. It's just not the place she wants to be. But she'll be damned if she's going to let a hater get one over, or if she's going to say, I was wrong, you were right, this wasn't working for me. Very true, Tuxedo. Her knowing the language wouldn't help the cause very much. It would pretty much confirm what they suspected. But you know what? I think it's a human thing. I'm guessing. Maybe you would disagree. In any language, you can smell a rat. It's almost like an extrasensory sort of perception. Even if you don't know the language of someone, if you can see their nonverbals, their eye movements, the way they talk, how loud they're speaking, in a cultural context, you can kind of pick a few things out about a person without knowing anything. I don't know any Arabic, but I know a bit about Salah. And I'm wondering, when he's doing the translating, how much he's actually telling her of what they're saying. And how much of what they're saying is negative. And if it's negative, how much of it is he taking to heart? So, I don't know. This is his life. This is his family. This is it. Chantal abandoned everything. She might as well have been hatched. Like that big-ass egg on Mork and Mindy. Remember that? She might as well have just been hatched. She said in a stream as well that she doesn't think she wants to go back to Canada because she doesn't think she can afford it anymore. Usually I think she's being grand for drama and cries broke, but I really do think she can't afford it. She can afford to live relatively well in a place like Syria, where all her money is coming in from somewhere else and being, exchanged and whatnot. So there is that, because she's not really supposed to be doing that shit in Syria. Otherwise, her passport is probably all ink at this point, running back and forth across borders. So, I don't know. But she had a few gems. Because whenever she's mad, and she was mad with Salah. She's trying to stream, he won't go to bed, all the normal drama. I need to be up late, he's bothering me, he doesn't want to be on camera anymore, but you can hear him in the background periodically. She'll see her talking to him, and when she wants to roll her eyes, she looks at the camera like it's a bestie, like, oh, can you believe him? But it's not people, necessarily. I mean, it's people, but it's in a platform where you're not it's not coffee with a friend. And when I'm leaning in, it's not like there's just the two of us. I mean, for you and me, there's the two of us. But there's a bigger group of people here who are also watching. And something is to be said for having an intimacy with your viewer and having a kind of comfortable place to go and chat and be yourself and say whatever you want to say. And, this is a relatively big tent, so I can't remember the last time I had an issue in a chat. Like, it's been forever. Even the normal garden variety, like bots and stuff, hasn't been too bad. Peach? It's not as juicy as I had thought. So she took the break from e-begging and then came back. So it's not untrue that there are YouTubers who ask their audience directly or through other means to give them money. I would say it's one thing to use the tools that YouTube provides. Super chat, super chat, super pick, all those other kind of ones that go with it. Super thanks, that's what I meant. Donating direct, all that kind of stuff you can do. A lot of people list their other places that you could donate because YouTube takes a portion of it as for a thank you for holding the platform. They take 30%. If you have Apple, I think it's another 10% if you pay a super through that. Plus, people have paid memberships, so then you count the people and you count that who come back every month. So you can make a good living on YouTube. Chantal is proof that you can make a good living doing it. Can she make a good living as a travel vlogger who is immobile, so it's hard to travel? But how's she gonna do that? There's no way. She's not up to making that kind of content. She was going through live and was complaining. And I know why she was complaining, because I had a similar feeling. I used to anyway. She went off because she went out during the day with Sala and whoever, and they went out and about and filmed things and looked at historic Syria and this and that. And she had to sit there and edit bunches of stuff. Not crazy. She didn't go nuts, like no Emmy material, but she was chopping up the video, putting it together, get it to be just long enough to be monetized. And when he was filming, you hear her narrating, and it's not at all that it could be. Oh, look, a tree. And then when he's doing it, he's showing her, which is kind of the cringy part of it for some people, I think. They want to see a full body shot as best they can. Amber would play with that 5-6 years ago. Remember she was going to walk to a tree, and she did? That thing went fucking viral just because she walked to a tree. Because it was such a spectacle, I think, for people to see. So other creators doing it with the money coming in, she says she can do it. Okay, fine. But on what level and how? Like I said, within the cone of YouTube, you're kind of okay with their terms. If you go to another platform that's, say, subscription, then you have to go subscribe to go see whatever the content is, and you have to pay for it. I don't think she could take that route because I don't think she could get enough paid subscribers on a channel if you went on some other platform, small or big, like Patreon or whatever. I don't think she can pull the crew. She puts off her nicest and closest of viewers. The people who've been around for a long time, like years. There's people who still liked her after Cuba, and still liked her after Pumped Up Kicks, and still liked her after the cat stuff with BBJ, and still liked her after dropping charges against the guy that she cried to us for months was mean to her. So what do you say? What do you say? She's not interested in making vlogs because reactors will just steal it and use it for their own content. This was a hotter kind of voice she had going when she was talking about this, saying, they're going to take my content. I went out and spent hours doing this and this and this, and you know what? Not that many people watched. Okay. And it's true, not as many people did. When she's a train wreck and she's on camera, people are freaking loving it. They're watching in droves, they're streaming it, they're sniping it, whatever you call, on other channels live so you can see what's going on. And Chantal's correct that a lot of people make a lot of money off of talking about her. Some people almost exclusively her, and then other people, Chantal's like part of a melange of reacts that they do. They might do Amber Lynn and her. Maybe Glitter and Lasers finds her way in, who I'm still doing some legwork on. There's another woman who just appeared out of nowhere, Rosie somebody or another. I gotta get a better hobby, but as long as we're all here, I guess we'll just chat. So thinking that I'm not gonna make content because it takes too long to make, it doesn't pay enough money, and I'm not gonna be interested in doing it, instead wanting to go live. The lives were what Solid didn't want, and the lives are what was going to be stayed away from because there's too much too spontaneous. Something could happen. Something could happen without notice. Something could happen without cause. She might turn the camera and accidentally show part of her house. So when it's a recorded video, it's easy to be edited. You can get stuff out of it. You're not putting it up raw. But she's also lazy. And a live is often a one-take gig, unless you go back and chunk some part out of this before I put it back up. Live is generally just live. Now she wants to do lives, but like a vlog, no camera anymore, and she's just going to be typing, and we're going to be talking to her in the chat like that bot on YouTube. Hi, can I help you today? And she's just going to, you'll be interacting with her like that. She has to get further away and make it easier and easier to do the work. So I feel for her with doing the amount of work. Mark and I do a couple different kinds of videos. We do lives. I talk about foodie beauty. We do cooking stuff. Mark is a retired chef. If we have holidays coming up, we do seasonal things. Mark likes to do the crafting and the gardening stuff. Now, he really likes doing the crafting and the gardening videos. They're not the highest view that we get on the channel. Mostly it's our shorts about the homophobic cats that we have, and then the chats that we have about foodie, and then hauls and maybe some other mental health check-ins. For relative to the number of views we get, those are the higher viewed ones. The Mondays with Mark ones where it's crafting and maybe the White Witch stuff, that's not White Witch, Wiccan stuff that Mark knew about and did videos. It had a smaller group of people watching, but those people were so loyal. I can look at the numbers and see who was there. 90% of the people who watch Mark's videos are viewers and subscribers. They're watching it. This is a little bigger. We meet friends from foreign lands when we talk about Chantal, and sometimes they stay, and sometimes they don't, and sometimes they catch a taste for our other content, and sometimes they don't. But it has a place on the channel. One, Mark's videos are long. People who watch them help out with that metric there. Also, his videos tend to be worth more than mine. If it's exclusively him, I guess maybe it's more wholesome content, but his RPM is higher than whatever I usually pull when I make a video. And he likes doing it, more importantly. And I like that he has an activity that is goal-directed. There's a beginning, middle, end. It involves planning. It involves doing things. It keeps him occupied. Keeps him in a good spot mentally. Because we could all slide so fast. Who knows? So it keeps him in a good spot. So there's more beyond it than just, we make these videos to make money, and since they don't make money, we're not going to do them. And I'm going to punish the audience for not watching more of the content I hate making. Girl, you in danger. Oatmeal break. Thank you to everybody who's coming in. Please feel free to give a thumbs up if you're so inclined. We also have memberships now available. Memberships, it's the Smokey deck. We only have one tier at the moment. It is $2.99. And we have for that our family photo album that go out for member posts, lives, member-only lives and chats, and some other features that go with it. So if you're interested, feel inclined. If not, we still do plenty of stuff on the channel that's not behind the membership tag. So thanks for being here regardless. I made this oatmeal really watery. This looks like, we love you, Miss Hannigan. We're not having hot mush today. We're having cold mush. And we didn't have any sweetener. And I'm not, used to, I'm used to like Splenda or Equal or something like that. I don't put sugar and stuff. So I grated apple into it instead and thought that would be healthier. Who knows? Who knows? It is good to be eating, though. I went to the psychiatrist last week. Quick sidebar. A couple days ago. And for anyone interested, just look after yourselves. Life can get really complicated. You really got to be on your self-care game. We'll just put it that way. When life throws things at you, we are all, I think, in our best spot when we're healthy, fed, clothed, all the best things we can do for ourselves. You're better mentally if you're better, take care of yourself otherwise. And I've had a call to do that. I've actually had to have a medication change. In case you're new, I have bipolar disorder. And most of the time I'm fine. It's been in remission for years, but I have symptoms that come in and out. And lately I've had some that needed a adjustment in the medication, which can be very messy or seamless. We don't know yet. It's been a couple days. So do forgive if within the next, I have a 9-day taper I'm doing from one drug down onto another drug up. And it has some side effects and it's a little sedating all day. I take it at night and I was unconscious. Until I get used to it, I might be slurring a little, I might be losing my place a little bit, so I'm not trying to write off sloppy lives necessarily, but just to give context to you guys about that stuff. People are. It's homophobic cats. It's a joke. Those are our babies. They're cutesy. It just putting because the thing is that there's these cute little things saying these horrible, nasty things. That's the thing. That's what makes it something that's interesting. Oh, you see these cute kitties, and they say "fuck these queers" and their mother too. Then that sets it up for you to get a giggle in. Plus, the cat videos are relatively short. Again, Mark's shorts, the ones that he does, they're usually closer to like 59 seconds. They're almost to the end. Usually, it's a recipe or something similar. And depending on what you put up for a short and what kind of shorts they are, people are gonna either catch it and watch a bunch. Like I've put one up, it's almost like playing slots. You post a short for us, and nobody watches, you hit refresh. 2 people, you hit refresh. 9 people, you hit refresh. 40 people, and then it goes. Then it'll hit a wall, and you'll just watch the metrics. It'll go up, and then go way up, and then down, and then absolutely no views for 12 hours. And then maybe a little pop of 50, and then in 2 months, maybe another pop of 10. The viewing of them is really interesting. I'm super into the numbers and watching how they go. I seriously get the slot machine feeling. Refreshing for views to look to see how did it go. Did I like this video? Did it do well? Do I care if you guys like the videos that we do? I do. And trying to match what you like and what we can make, what's within our ability and within our bounds, is trying to strike the perfect balance with a channel. Somewhere where we have enough time and interest and talent where it's worth it to have people come and watch and talk and hang out and do that kind of thing. I think Foodie at this point is contemplating that she can't do that. Her messy life was her most lucrative life. Her sitting stoned out of her mind on edibles, playing Ike and Tina Turner with Natter, and going back and forth driving intoxicated, allegedly, between Montreal and where she was, that got a lot of people watching. Train wrecks. People like train wrecks. They'll watch even if they don't. We'll say that. And after that ended, people kind of lost interest. And then when she became a Muslim, people sort of got interested, and then they kind of lost interest in that too. She doesn't have a thing now. She doesn't have this is my thing. She's part of a family. And she's used to being the center of the family. Hall is not part of the crew. She's Queen Bee, and these are the rest of the people around her. I know she feels superior to these other women that she's living with. And that she feels it's beneath her to do that women's work, I'm sure. Whenever he calls her Western, he means she's a bitch. I live this Western household member. The Western household member. Not my wife, not my love, not my betrothed. They could have even used a pet name instead of saying, my wife or whatever, but no. Mm-mm. I've just gotten alert. Instacart is on their way. Mark's birthday. So I said we can order food and you can have it delivered. The $7 is okay. Happy birthday, Merry Christmas. So, now to dinner time. Now, she was allegedly going to make dinner for 18, including some children. She was going to make poutine. Poutine is prostitute. Poutine, whatever it is. I don't have it. I'm an Anglophone or whatever the fuck you call them. So, she can't speak the language, certainly. And some of them may or may not understand what she's saying, even if they don't reply. Just because they're not replying doesn't mean they don't understand what she's saying. I can understand a little bit of Spanish. I can't reply very well because I was sick that semester. So I can read a bunch of books in Spanish and can't talk. She can't talk, read, nothing, period. She's just there. She had to be a nightmare to deal with as a kid, yes. The language barrier. I don't know if it makes it worse for Sala because he not only has to deal with himself, anything she wants, he has to be around. If she wants any one little thing, a little hand wipe for her flipper, fucking Sala's gonna have to run across the compound, dodging gunfire, to bring it to her. Because that's how she'd rather have it. The tone deafness of sitting there and talking about your husband going out to get you ice cream in this area where you hear things being fired a lot. You hear guns. You do use guns for celebration. Some cultures sometimes. They're also used for killing. They're pretty much designed to murder, though. I mean, that's what a gun's for. It's a nice little whatever if you want to celebrate with it, but it's meant to kill another person. So even if I was in a country where I was on the right side of things, I don't know that I'd feel comfortable with a bunch of people who are highly armed just hanging out all the time. Like I said, we have that in America all of a sudden. It's not reassuring. It doesn't feel nice. So he does have a bit coming to him to say. It's not to say poor Sala, poor nothing. He, hook, line, and sinker, jumped into this, so She complained when he came back with the ice cream. She complained. It was cardamom, which I would think would taste like chai tea. My only sense of cardamom is like some Indian food and chai tea. I have a limited palate with some spices, but I'm sure it was okay. And for the fact that he went out and got it and came back, and she's fucking, she's taken it to the streets, we'll say, with this popsicle, this married modest Miriam. And then giving him side eye because he didn't ask me what kind of ice cream I wanted. Oh, God. She didn't like hang up and call him or anything. But then when he comes back, he gets the wrath of, oh, that's what you got me? I didn't know what you'd get because I didn't ask. You didn't ask. So, I don't know how they determined if the gunshots are celebratory. I guess, I don't know. She doesn't seem to know. She kind of thinks they all kind of sound the same. Like that the gunshots and the fireworks and firecrackers and whatever sound the same. Now, she did show when she was out in Damascus, I think, and she was with Salah. There was a small child with a little, like, firecracker-looking flare that was shooting out of it. Little kid, like probably, I don't know, 10 years old. And it was shooting them out. That was not AR. That was not an automatic weapon. That was firing. That's not, no, it was. It was not fireworks. It was not, flares. It sounded like gunfire. So she tried to write it off as just, here, see, this is a kid making the noise that you're hearing. It's just celebratory flares. Okay, so then how did the house fall down? Was that just bad weather? Or did something go on that involved weapons and death and destruction? No. And again, I don't feel for Salah particularly, but for a community that's starting over with nothing. Could you imagine if Chantal was living in Canada with her mother and everything was destroyed in some war with Canada that would only happen on South Park, and Chantal had to, with her mother and sisters, rebuild their house so they have somewhere to live. Chantal does not participate. Chantal will not participate. That's her standing doctor's note for gym class. Chantal will not participate. She's got cramps or something. Fruit, banana. The peaches are okay. Mark got some Edge of Glory peaches from the discount section. And I think I can turn them into peach rings. If you have a food dehydrator, cut them thin, put them on it, sprinkle it with citric acid if you get it in a bag, and you make your own Sour Patch Kids. Or peach rings. Any other one you can make Sour Patch Kids. That's a good stuff. Especially if you fiend. I fiend sometimes, I do not others. Stuttering. It was girl. Oh, Foodie. Oh, Foodie, Foodie, Foodie. I'm really, like, at the moment, because I'm in a better spot with talking about her, because I've been keeping up, and she hasn't made new content. So that gives me time. This is her full-time gig. And a couple of the reactors, it's their full-time gig. Some of them part-time, some of them it's highlight, it's like a hobby just for fun. I know Gorlick is still making content now. Gorlick Bread. About Chantal. He's not monetized on YouTube at the moment. And he ended up going to Patreon, where he was monetized and then demonetized briefly. So he's doing a bit of work right now for free. So, hey Des! Real girl that made me scare myself when I snorted. Girl! She's not in a good spot. She is not. Alright, let's see what else the notes pulled up for her. So, of all the things that you could film or not film, this Dinner for 18. Now, Dinner for 18 could be a 90-minute show. You could find a lot of things to film in a person following them making dinner for 18 people. It's a big deal. It could be in any country if you're just a limited number. What are they cooking? What are they making? How long does that take? Where does that come from? Is that your favorite? What do you like? There's so many questions you can ask, and you can engage back and forth with the people doing it. Of course, she can't because she doesn't speak the language, but in theory, someone who was interested in, anything other than themselves might pick up a book at some point. So she didn't film any of it. She didn't film the dinner. That didn't happen. She didn't film the preparation. She didn't film something on a plate. Nothing. I remember the time she filmed a plate from Thanksgiving dinner and insisted this was typical Chantal. It was Thanksgiving. People were like, "Are you going to go to Natter's or are you going to stay with your family?" Oh, I don't know, probably family. Then she puts up a picture of a Thanksgiving Day meal. And typical Chantal, it's not hers. It's somebody else's. So I didn't say I was showing my Thanksgiving dinner. I said I was showing a Thanksgiving dinner. Uh-huh. This is Chantal Lee's for, you know, backing out of it and saying, well, I didn't say it exactly like that. What I really said, the stopping and the starting and the and the ha is the lying. Oh, I put it in the oven. I thought it was a tray, but it was a chafing dish, but it was a platter. And I put all this stuff in, and they were helping me peel potatoes because there was a lot for 18 people. It's a lot of potatoes, and they were so helpful. And she didn't speak to or talk to anyone. She didn't think anyone would want to see her prepare a meal for 18, but we were dying to see her eat a cardamom popsicle. We were just dying to death to see that. Not anything mildly interesting. Honestly, I was happy to report she was doing discussion about old content she did, as she was talking about, fuck off on the recorded content, and she just wanted to do lives. And then not even live, she wants to turn the camera off and do podcasts. Because if French Fried Girl can do it, and Yaba can do it, yeah, but they can pay their bills doing it. You can't. You can't. Your own mouth, you couldn't move back to Canada. You now have a third world income from YouTube. There was a time she was making more in a month than I made in a couple years. My early recovery, I was working for like $10 an hour, $12 an hour jobs. And she's making more in a month than I was making in a year getting on my feet. So the resources were there. She would have all the money in the world. If she paid the taxes, which would be steep in Canada, she'd still have a lot more money. But she's always relying on, I think, old faithful, old videos, a base level income that comes in every day, and she can still shake the trees and get some people to clutch their pearls and come out and stuff like that. But she won't go away. She thinks that if she stepped away, all the reaction channels would go away. That didn't happen. We're watching Amber Lynn at the moment because she was taking a month off, see what happens on that front. If it's anything like other times that the two of them take a break. I don't mean to group them together like Chantal does. They're not like besties. Chantal will happily throw her name next to Amber's. You ever heard Amber throw hers to Chantal? I haven't really. Not so much. I don't think they want to bump purses. I think they just want to be the queen bee. Which, I'm sorry, Chantal, I'd have to give to Amber. She's far, I don't know. I just got comparing apples and oranges, I guess. 20K a month? You know what I could do with 20K a month? I could hit the reset button on some life plans. It's a lot of money to come into all at once quick. Especially. Even if it was a one-off and she just had normal months, to make, in the tens of thousands, you could really make some big decisions in your life that involve having a lot of money. You could talk about property. You could talk about moving. You could talk about travel. She traveled, but she didn't travel alone, and she didn't travel as much as she flew to different places and stayed in hotels. And she wasn't a travel vlogger because she was married, but she was only traveling through Syria because she can't film there. There's so many yes but yet. It's totally Chantopoulos. Totally Chantopoulos, the way it shakes down. So, the poor dear. Poor nothing. I almost forgot. She fell again. And then she talked about how she didn't want to make content because it's not fun with people being constantly negative. She was gone under 24 hours, and she talked about how doing this stuff on YouTube is bad for her mental health. She wasn't swinging with a full to begin with. So, no, I don't think it's good for her mental health. But probably... I mean, it's not helping. And she's sucked into YouTube. I heard of other people. There was another discussion I was having with some people on YouTube. And the idea that she kind of wants to stay helpless, thinking that people are going to come to her rescue. But she does it in a childlike sort of way, with the baby voice and the, hey, baby, and trying to be cute, as though it'll present as youthful or demure or sweet. There is nothing youthful, demure, or sweet about Miss Foodie Beauty. There isn't. Even with a filter on it, there's not. Her body is probably the best looking thing about her. Her best quality is probably her body. Glean from that what you may. I'm a gay man. Glean from what you may. So, Sala didn't get the right ice cream. She's there month to month. And she's there with all these different housemates and people coming and going. This has a time limit on it. This cannot go on forever. She will not tolerate it. She's missing the Western world. She's missing having her way. And I think she probably can't scream and manipulate and carry on. When her and Sala were alone in an apartment, you know, who the hell knows what they were fighting about if they weren't. But now that there's witnesses all the time and people around, Chantal, it's not as easy to lie. Plus, he's less afraid of making her look like a fool on camera because he doesn't want anything to do with YouTube anymore. So if he says something that makes her look like a liar or looks stupid, it's kind of in his favor because he wants the money but nothing else to go with it. If she got just as much money pumping gas, he would tell her to go do that instead. While he went and ran a business of doing something. Corey Coconut, hello. I know, it can't be good to be doing all that work. All of us do it. I'm half fried, but I still make it to work. You know, you do what you can when you can. You know, some people are made to work their whole life, some people don't. But to not acknowledge and have gratitude for the fact that you don't have to do a traditional job because you can do exactly what you want to do. Sit around, eat, and film on camera. That's one of those I'm jealous of the results, but not of the actions. Like, I would like 25 grand a month, but I don't want to get blazed and just talking to the camera and pick fights with people and say inflammatory shit to see if anyone will send me money. It's just not how I roll. Even if the money was there, you know, there's a matter of Chantal saying she would never make a reaction channel. Now, we know she tried. I would never, ever make a reaction. I wouldn't lower myself. We remember she tried. It didn't work because she didn't react to other people the way that they react to her. She just called names and made faces. She wasn't thoughtful. She wasn't insightful. She wasn't comparing past to present and nothing like that. So, no. She did do a mukbang. That was today's nonsense. Shitty quality of video and audio, which for a recorded video, you need to have that shit set up. The best you can. If you have limited tools and resources, you can take a lamp and put a piece of loose leaf on it with a piece of tape to kill the brightness. You know, there's things you can do to try to help it out. But exactly, Des. She reacted just by poking fun. She didn't see the bigger picture, which is why she gets reacted to, because she's so dense that, and there's such unbelievable hypocrisy that 24 people make money talking about it. That's how outrageous it is. That's how she rolls. That's how she rolls, I guess. But the mukbang wasn't anything special. It's not gross. She was eating with her hands. It's not gross to eat with your hands, like I said, but the way she was, it was kind of nasty. You know, her finger licking, finger picking, and then the ice cream that she demanded. It's always like she's like a kid. I fell and hurt my knee. She carries on. Fine, I'll get you ice cream. Okay. Maybe it isn't very hard to show Chantal you love her. Just bring her food. She'll construe. She thinks food is love, is comfort, is nourishment, is a hug. Food is a hug from the inside out. I love food. I would be a foodie if I was Foodie. But that's not, the consequences of it are not the same. And Chantal, I doubt, if Chantal were 130 pounds, she would still get feedback about being a bitch. Because it's how she acts that people use to form the opinion. She thinks it's a fat-phobic world and everyone's an asshole. I don't have any fat phobia. I get fat all the time. The problem is, by holding on to that, you can't go back and say, well, you don't like this about me. No, I don't like liars. I don't like people that manipulate other people. I don't care if you're good at it. It's not a talent you should flash. Once upon a time, being manipulative used to be considered a negative. Now it's considered to be good business. I mean, look at the state of things. Being manipulative is having a keen eye for things. So, 2 live streams? That's right, Jamil. 2 live streams. No one's watching Elizabeth. Everyone's going through reactors to watch. Whether it's like, there's a few that I like. I like Sansa Cooks. I do catch gore like bread. There's a couple other ones that I keep up with that I like. And, you know, by not watching her, you're not missing much. Most people only want to know the end. They don't care what happens up until the end. They want to know the end. And so they'll look over every once in a while and take a peek at the channel. Or follow the reactors, because they can have those kind of discussions about her content on their channel that you can't have on her channel. Block, delete, Block, 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 block. There will be no dissent. The streets will flow with the blood of the non-believers. She's all crazy. All crazy. And then wonders why nobody stays. She blocks the loyal people. I mean, not everyone is going to have something nice to say about you. I've figured, for myself, I'm 43. I was a chubby, effeminate gay child, okay? I know this in northeastern Pennsylvania. I know what mean is. I know what nasty is. And people can be nasty, but she thinks it's something different than it is. I hope I see the end of Corey. If I go before her, I swear to God, I'll make my channel from heaven. Me in heaven, that's ambitious. Hey, Susie, you're fine. You're fine, you're fine. We're just doing the usual gab. Usual girl. So, as is in the title here, we're talking about selfishness and self-centeredness. I'm a person who has a history with addiction and who is in recovery. So I have a history of abusing and using substances. I also have a history of mental illness, as you've known. That feels like that gives me a little bit of insight into her behaviors because a lot of the ways that she acts and her motivations remind me of old Steve. Now, there is a school of thought that, a leopard never changes its spots. So take that for what it is. I would like to say it's maybe growth, not change. We can put it that way. But selfishness and self-centeredness. In the 12-step literature, it says that is the root of the problem. Our problem. People who have a problem with addiction. And for her, it's all ego and appearances, and you want to get rid of the bondage of self, be released of your own ego, to get past and over yourself. Chantal is very proud for a person with no dignity and no shame. She's somehow very proud at the same time. I can't make sense of that, but it's not for me to make sense of. But her self-centeredness is glaring when it comes to food, because food comes first before the delivery person. Where's the food? Oh, are you okay? It's a similar kind of thing. She betrays her real priorities when she gets angry, or when she gets when she's not doing the fake low BMI voice. She's trying to just create a picture that isn't hers. She's putting on a face, anybody's face, not hers though. Exactly, Joan. None of this. She thinks people sit around and make fun of fat people. It's not. I told you, her body's probably the prettiest thing about her. Everything else could use a little work. Everything else could use a little work. Just saying. Just saying. I think you can do a lot of stuff and be a big person. You can be fat and be talented. You can be fat and be good at playing the oboe. You can be good as a parent. You can be a great artist. You could be a great speaker. You cannot be 250 pounds overweight and be healthy. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. I mean, I've lost some more weight. Not bad, not good, just I lost some more weight. So she now has about 200. She has a lot on me because I'm under 200 at this point. So she's at least twice my weight. And I'm a foot taller. So that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of wear and tear. Her little body under that giant balloon is going to break down. The hips go, the knees go. And all this boy that cried wolf stuff, she's going to fall down sometime and say, I can't get up. Sala's going to laugh at her and not give her a hand. Because, oh, you're just saying that because you don't want to cook. You're just saying that because you don't want to vlog. You're just saying that to get out of this. She thinks you won't question her motives. I would never lie about being sick. I would never lie about being in pain. How could you even assume such a thing? She does it so often that it, betrays her real motives. So, I don't know. I don't know. Oatmeal. Ego, appearances. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. So I don't know. I miss break time. Vape and settle. So I think pretty much this goes back to her being one of the most selfish people that I've seen on YouTube. And I'm just saying it is what it is. The kind of things she does and the choices she makes are all about her. Things only exist in relationship to Chantal. They don't exist on their own. Like, Mark and I don't exist to her because we're not on our phone. We don't exist. We're not even there. People come in and out of her line of sight, but pretty much that's about it. So she doesn't care what happens to anyone else other than her. which is bad. People don't like selfish people. People don't like liars. They don't like that. And you're not, a decent person could get embarrassed or fuck up and lie. Same thing I would say about drinking. Any idiot, selfish idiot, could have a few drinks, get behind the wheel of a car. I've done it a couple times. I haven't had a drink for years, and the stuff that happened to me was about 17 years ago, I guess. And still, just no, nothing. Just, I never knew when to say no. So I would just keep going and going and going. And then it becomes everyone else's problem. Because then I'm leaving, and let's say I get in the car. Now I'm creating problems for everyone. And everyone else is becoming less safe because of what I'm choosing to do. But I don't care. Selfish. Self-centered. Chantal would totally smoke the last year's stash. Totally. Did you eat all those edibles? Yes. I bought them yesterday. So, when she had the, endless stream of money coming in, she was getting stuff from the dispensary a lot. And because of convenience sake, and maybe COVID helped it along, she was getting her stuff delivered. We don't in Pennsylvania have delivery for medical marijuana. It doesn't, you have to go to a dispensary to get it. And you have to go to some doctor somewhere to get the prescription for it. Though it's easy now. It looks like you can go online and see a doctor for 20 minutes and they write you a card saying, oh, you're anxious? You can go get your stuff. She is hitting back with the shisha now that she's, shisha? I have that right? Now that she's back in Syria. But she gets glassy-eyed and out of it and obnoxious, and she blows smoke in the camera, and that's like blowing smoke in people's faces. It is. It's a camera. It's not really happening. It's not real. I'm not really blowing smoke. It's rude. I think that's rude. So she can do whatever she wants on her channel, obviously, but when she praises her modest life with her collectivistic community and her wonderful husband, and then when no one's around and everyone's asleep, she's chain smoking online, talking about food. What was your favorite food? What were your favorite holidays? What were your favorite foods on those holidays? Food, food, food. She is foodie beauty, but did you know it went so deep? Mm-mm. Deep. I don't think of deep as Chantal, but I think of her issues, they run deep. Still chewing. Still chewing. All done. So where do we predict our fair lady is going to go? I don't think she'll be staying. I think she's going to need another break. She was hitting up more money. I think she wanted to take a break again. She wanted to go to Japan and fish for money because she needed vacation. She just got back from the kind of trip that some people would call the trip of a lifetime. There's people who don't travel, don't have the resources, that would have went and loved. It would have been the highlight of their life to go stay in a hotel in another city with air conditioning and food and all that kind of stuff. To her, it's almost like, it's not even the nicest place I could have stayed. She stayed in a nice place. I don't care if she thinks it's too much or too little or too shishi or too trashy. She stayed somewhere nice that a lot of people would like to, and she stayed for longer than most people have off. Came back, and after 2 weeks of not working, helping out, she's ready to turn around and go to some other place again to hide. If you got the money to do it, go ahead. But if you put Sala in charge of your money, then he decides. You either have to make him very happy or very mad, so he will have you go away. Chantal does not leave herself usually too vulnerable. She has some strings everywhere talking about it. It has a lot of what they used to call dry drunk behaviors. Well, yeah. Oh, I knew 1,000 dry drunks. It's basically they're sober, but they have all the assholiness of an alcoholic. The selfishness, the self-centeredness, the me, the, I get 2 for me, none for you. I didn't know, nobody told me, the gaslighting, all that kind of stuff. All that kind of stuff is part of the personality. You pour alcohol on it, it explodes. But the idea of a person being a dry drunk is that they have all those same shitty behaviors. That's why I've been in, 12-step meetings before where assholiness, yes, that's a perfect one for it. I've been in meetings where there's gentlemen usually, because I would go to men's meetings and stuff. And I don't do the 12-step program anymore. It was very helpful. It saved a lot of lives. It's helped save mine, but it was part of the bigger picture. And when I went, you'd meet guys who say, I've been sober 30 years, I've been sober 20 years, but my kids won't still talk to me because they're upset. I'm going to wager that little Chad isn't upset about the fact that you drank 30 years ago. He's probably still displeased with your personality because you haven't really changed. One of the the best note of that would be, talking about humility. You know, it would come up as a topic in 12-step meetings. He'd be like, let me tell you about humility. If someone spends 30 minutes telling you about how humble they are, that's not humble. Yeah. Remember that was the Thanksgiving? Actually, Bear, was it the Thanksgiving? No, Christmas. She bought everyone weed and liquor and then didn't go and ate it all herself. I was like, whoopsies. And her family's probably used to her flakiness. Like, no one expects she'll show up for anything anymore. The last time I saw her at her family's house, she was in the abaya, breaking them in on Canadian Thanksgiving. She showed up and she was in the full garb beyond just the hijab. So, I'm a good person. Of course you are, honey. Of course you are. Don't listen to the other kids. You're the prettiest girl I know. God help her mother. Her mother, Chantal, from what I understand, her mother was a young mother. And everyone's got anecdotes about young mothers, and usually they involve either them being incredibly self-sufficient or making a hell of a lot of mistakes. Because the support might not be there for a mother that is so young, you know, and that is with that. Chantal clicked with her grandmother, and I think grandma was the fixer. I think Chantal would have been grandma when mom wouldn't give her way. Well, grandma trumps you, and da-da-da. If you were any kind of mother, I believe she'd be the kind of kid that would throw her own mother's parenting back in her face and say, if I'm a bad kid, you're a bad mom. I think she is reflective like that. Now, where she learned to do that, rabbits don't have squirrels. So what was her mom like? What was her grandmom like? What were the other people who were in her life like? No one's jealous, Chantal. If you wasn't such an asshole, she might be okay. Like, back in the day, Chantal, I would have bullshitted with her and went to a club. I was always hanging out with the fat girl. Well, there was a couple kinds of gay guys. The ones with the gorgeous girlfriends and the ones with the gorgeous plus-size girlfriends who hang around and circle. Never the twain shall meet, it seems. But the old school term, like hag. You know, the girl that hangs out with all the gay guys. Chantal has that persona written all over her. Oh, honey, darling, with the cigarette and the food and the drama, the drama, the drama. She would love it. She'd love it. She did claim to be bi for a little while, and they were going to go to Pride, but guess what they didn't do? Her and Pete's were going to go. They didn't go. Because Pete was exploring his self, and was trying out some new behaviors, some new clothes, some new things, and she felt like, you know, maybe she'll be part of it. But she's not. If she could find a woman that would do for her what a man would, she might change her mind. Oh, it's not a hard divide. I'm just being silly. But it's always, I would see the guys in the club who were like a size 2. They're 6 foot, 150 pounds, 6-pack, swimmer's build, all that stuff, and they have these Model-esque girls circling. I'm over in the corner, in jeans, you know, and a sweatshirt at a bar, hanging out with my friends who are not dressed up for anyone but ourselves, just hanging out. So, you know, we weren't party stoppers. I like to dance, but I don't like the all eyes on me necessarily kind of thing. And so I didn't try to draw that attention, and so I didn't hang out with people who drew a lot of attention. You know, I kind of just wanted to hang in the back. That's where me and my crew sat. That's how we roll. That's how we roll. Yeah, and I can't speak for every gay guy, of course. That's like asking a black person to speak for all black people. I can't speak for every gay person, but that's been my experience. And my experience is limited to my life and my experiences and what I've seen and heard. So keep it with a grain of salt when you're taking my view or opinion on anything. As much as I think I'm always right, I'm not always right. Most of us are wrong every day about something. What I do find interesting, and I don't need to bring him up again, but it caught me. I was watching Garlic Bread. And he was talking business with Chantal, because he has a few businesses on the side. He had a channel, and then another channel, and then got a .com for himself. And it sounds like he's into trading and investing and stuff like that, so it's good. But he has a tone to him that is very similar to Chantal's. I'm going to let you know how much better I am than you by telling you this. And I'm going to make you feel stupid for thinking I'm talking down to you, even though I'm talking down to you. That's the kind of vibe I got. And Chantal gets that vibe too. I know I'm lying, you know I'm lying, I know you know I'm lying, but what are you going to do? There needs to be rock hard evidence. It doesn't matter how obvious it looks or how predictable it is, there needs to be some sort of proof. And if the proof is found, it's doctored. She reminds me of a certain orange turd in the way that she expresses herself in community posts. Glean from that what you may. So, where she's going, I don't see her staying. I see her going on another run, another place to go. She'll need more hotel time. Now, payday just would have happened a week and a half ago. So, a week and a half ago, she would have came into her money. And then whatever traveling or maneuvering they were going to do, that's it. If Saul was helping manage the money, their finances might look different. They might not be broke after 2 weeks. Her getting paid once a month does not help her. If she got paid every week, maybe she could spend her money out a little wiser. But that once a month thing, it feels like the lottery on payday. Especially Chantal didn't have like a 6-figure job before she was on YouTube. She left a clerical job and then took time off and was unemployed and started doing YouTube. So it's not like this was something she put a lot of work into and had a long dream of doing. It was the path of least resistance towards money. The blurty rage. Oh God, poor Garlic. He got totally sucked in. The rage posts from him about how many viewers and how certain this and a certain that. And it's like, I understand part of being in the community is being in a community and engaging, you know? But the way he goes about it is different than I guess I would. I would go differently. I do appreciate any creator who can make a video about her and have it be good and hold the audience, me, whoever, but not use her footage. You can use her pictures, but no footage and no audio and no stuff like that. If you can really paint a picture with your words, either like this or as a podcast, that's a real talent. That's more than gossip. You know, anybody could turn on the camera and talk shit. But if you want to be on E! News or you want to talk about celebrities, you got to have a certain look, a certain sound, a certain vibe. You got to actually want to do that. Chantal fell ass backwards into something that would make her money. That's it. She didn't start at a young age filming herself eating and then say, when I grow up someday, I'll be a 6-figure eater. I don't think that was the plan, but she fell into it. And she got lazy. She got used to easy money. And when you're lazy and used to easy money, you feel bad for people that have to work. You think you're better than them. You think, I'm not going to work all year to have 2 weeks off. No, you're going to panhandle from strangers to go take another break from your husband, who you love. So I'm going to wrap up. I have just a few peaches left here. Just a few peaches. And a little bit of oatmeal. So I'm going to wrap it up for there. Today we're coming up onto the hour. So thank you all for being here. Hey, Jay. You're just at the end. I'm just getting started. I know. God love him. God love him. See, we know we're a small channel. We're not pretending to be anything that we're not. So it's easy for me to stay right-sized. That's the best way to stay out of being so self-centered. Stay right-sized. If you get what I mean. Like, you're not just... This is your lot in life. Don't be all over here with the rest of me. So thank you for watching. Please do subscribe. Hit the thumbs up on your way out, please, if you will. We're available on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All our contact info is listed down below as well. Thanks, and we will catch up with you soon. You'll probably see Mark next. I can't tell you when because I don't know what he's doing. But we'll keep you posted, definitely. So thank you for joining me tonight for an early brunch, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye!